Hey, my name is Jax, let me not waste your time. Yo, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over the best flow styles to use in Blue Lock Rivals. I really don't like asking this, but if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. We're almost at 9k and we're trying to hit it by the end of the year, but we only really have 3 days to do so. So if you're new here, drop a sub. It's completely free and you can unsubscribe whenever you stop liking my content. Like I always say, I don't like to waste time on this channel, so I'm not gonna waste any more of yours. Let's just get straight into the tier list. Alright guys, so here we are in the tier list, and let me go ahead and explain how it works. The rankings get better as they gradually increase. So for example, if I were to put Awakened Genius at D tier and I were to put Lightning at S tier, I'd be saying Awakened Genius is the worst flow in the game and Lightning's the best, which is obviously not true. And that's why I'm making this video, so you don't think that Awakened Genius is worse than Lightning, because obviously it's not. So now that you guys know how the tier list works, let's go ahead and start with our first flow, which is going to be Awakened Genius. So if we head to the trailer here, basically his description is just a Seitoshi quote telling his brother that he'll never be able to surpass him. Now this flow is actually really good as it increases the dribble amount, gives stronger shots, and 20% activation for your team on activation, which means everybody on your team, when you pop flow, gets 20% of their bar full. And if coordinated right, almost everybody on your team can get max flow at the same time if you all use Awakened Genius. Being one of the most OP flows in the game, being able to give flow to other people, and when stacked correctly, could give your entire team max flow %, so we're gonna go ahead and be putting it as our first S rank, even though it's only our first style. So with that said, being insanely OP and being able to go ahead and max out your teammates' flow when coordinated right and give everybody on your team flow, we are going to be putting our first flow here in S tier. Next is Prodigy. If you don't know, Prodigy is Rin's flow, and again, its description is just a quote from Rin. Friend or foe, you're all half-baked NPCs to me, which really is just a funny quote. I'm not sure how this has to do with his flow, but this flow gives you stronger shots, faster speed, and basic shots turn into curve shots. Now this is actually a pretty OP flow, even though it doesn't really look like it. The stronger shots is actually super important and basically turning them into a curve shot, which is Rin's first move. You also go way faster. I know it just says faster speed, but it's like you just popped Chigger. And once again, a Mythic flow, which is only our second flow that we're going to go ahead and be going over in this video, is again going to make S tier, but it's going to go below Awakened Genius. Because, well, Awakened Genius can literally give a Prodigy player flow. Next, we're going to move on to Snake. Snake is a quote from Aiku, which says, if one day a true striker appears struggling to bloom in this country, I swear I'll never allow that bud to be plucked. And if you don't know why it says this, it's because in the anime, Aiku's backstory is that he wanted to play offense but was shut down and forced to play defense, which obviously gave birth to the legend defender we know today. And because he's a defender, his flow gives you lower tackle cooldown, shorter ragdoll time, increased speed, and a bigger tackle hitbox. If you're a defender, there's only really one flow that you should pick, and it's this. I mean, based on all its buffs, it's really an insane flow. So once again, the third flow we just reviewed is a Mythic, and we're also going to be putting it in S tier, but we're going to be putting it above Prodigy and below Awakened Genius. For the same reason, we put Prodigy below Awakened Genius because Awakened Genius can give Snake players flow. Now that we're finally done with these OP Mythics, we're going to go on to Demon Wings, which is Shido's flow. Again, it's just a quote, and it's anyone who can't keep up with my explosions can just die. Kinda brutal. And this is how the flow looks, and it's your wings increase your jump height, so you can go ahead and bean top people. It makes your header stronger and increases your shot speed. Overall, an average flow. Just really does what it looks like it portrays. And obviously, it gives you a stronger shot because, well, Shido in the show has insanely strong shot power. There's not a lot to be said about this flow, so we're gonna go ahead and put it in A tier because it's amazing, but it's not amazing enough to be S tier and keep up with these three. Next, let's move on to Wildcard, which is Kunigami's flow. All it is a little orange aura, but they go ahead and fix this because they add cards around it. Now, if you don't know why this is here, they're not gonna tell you about it until you read the manga, so don't look it up. Quote that says, if you still want to get stronger using shortcuts, then you're finished as a football player. A very Kunigami thing to say. And it gives you a random boost, either increased speed, strength, or stamina, and it has a chance to activate a jackpot and give you all 3 buffs at once. If this flow guaranteed you giving you all 3 buffs at once, it'd actually be a contender with Shido. But sometimes when you pop flow, you have a chance to just get a stamina boost. This flow doesn't seem as good as it really portrays to be. So for that reason, we're gonna go ahead and put Wildcard into B tier. Wildcard is a good flow, and it'll probably be able to compete with Demon Wings if you roll everything. But it's a gamble, and if you hit flow and you only get increased stamina, it's like you just popped a Chiggery move, which is a B tier style. Next, we're gonna move on to Genius. Like the name say, Awakened Genius is just a better version of Genius. Saying, my singular interest is in becoming the best in the world. There is a fundamentally different depth to our greed. And it's actually got a rework. It used to be green, but now it's pink. And instead of giving you a boost, it gives everyone on your team 30% flow on activation. Now this is actually super helpful, well, because Genius is not a Mythic and it's quite easy to spin. So if you're a defender and you can't get Snake flow, I'd probably use this because, well, there's not a lot of flows that give defenders boosts, just passive boosts. So for this reason, I'm going to put it in A tier. Because if you have anybody like Awakened Genius, Genius, Snake, or Prodigy players on the pitch, when you pop this flow, you can actually go ahead and activate all 3 of them at once. It's a good flow, but it doesn't give you anything but help your teammates. And for the average Blue Lock Rivals player, only helping their teammates is a nightmare. Now let's go ahead and move on to King's Instinct. King's Instinct is based off Baru, and its description is just a quote from him. And the description says, "Excellent work, serve me Ubers." Now, if you haven't read the manga, you're probably going to think that Baru is just overly obsessed with ordering out fast food delivery. But this is just not the case. Please read the manga. Anyways, moving on from what the description says to on what the flow does. The flow increases your shot power, and tackles leave your opponent on the ground for longer. Once again, this flow is kind of reminding me of Wildcard, except it's not a gamble, you're just kind of getting mid. I mean, you get stronger shot power, which is basically in every other flow we reviewed except Genius, and tackles leave your opponent on the ground for longer. I mean, I guess it's alright, but for that reason, we're gonna go ahead and put it in B behind Wildcard. Next, we have Gale Burst, and they haven't uploaded the Trello yet, so we don't have their character for this. I didn't even know this existed, but Gale Burst is just an epic flow, and it was supposed to be Shido's flow until Shido got Demon Wings. So if you want to be Shido and you can't get Demon Wings, get this flow. Its description is, if you can't break others, how can you possibly react with an explosion? And what it does is it increases your stamina regeneration speed and makes your shot quicker to release. So basically you regenerate stamina faster and your shot goes out quicker. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. And for that reason, I'm going to put it above King's Instinct, but below Wildcard. Next, we're going to move on to Monster. Monster is Bachira's flow, and its description is, in football, you can't win unless you're having fun. And what it does is you get a shorter dribble cooldown and no speed reduction when running with the ball. And what it does is you get a shorter dribble cooldown and no speed reduction when running with the ball. As you know, you move about 30% slower whenever you're running with the ball. So being able to not have that speed reduction is actually kind of clutch. You also get a shorter dribble cooldown, so you can just dribble through the whole team. Monster is too good to be put in B tier, but it's too bad to actually go ahead and reach A, so we're just gonna go ahead and put it right at the bottom. The next flow we have is Puzzle, and the description is, I don't need to be like I was back then. What I want most is to win, and the time to change is now. And in general, it just increases your speed. Possibly one of the most underwhelming flows for the main character, and for that reason, we're just gonna put it in C tier. Next, our final flow, Lightning. Lightning is again a rare flow, which is the same as Puzzle. Its description is, if Isagi and Nagi are the main actors, then I will devour that light and be the villain I have to. So for that reason, I'm going to be putting Lightning in front of Puzzle, Isagi's flow. Anyways, this is how our tier list is gonna look for the final. If you don't like this tier list and you think I'm an idiot or completely wrong, comment that down below. But if you still think I'm an idiot but you have good morals, we're trying to hit 8K by the end of the year, and we only have 9 days to do so. So if you could please hit that subscribe button. So if you're new, please hit that subscribe button, as it's free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want if you stop liking my content. Anyways, if you disagree with this tier list or agree, comment down below and let me know. And if you made it this far, comment down W tier list. I'll be hearting and responding to any comment that does. Once again, if you rock Lightning flow and you think it's better than Awakened Genius, that's all personal preference. Once again, that's all personal preference. I'm just a random 13-year-old on YouTube giving out my opinion. Anyways, that's all from me, and I'm out, goats. Peace.